Look at these guys. Do you think they care about what you, Daquan Harrison, or you, Maria Santiago, think is real music and culture? Think again. They are a representation of everything wrong that happens when you put the money before the art. Let's talk about it. Look at this little kid. His name is Lil Young Gangster. He's a 17-year-old little racially ambiguous kid from Arkansas. And his dream is to become the greatest rapper in the world. Luckily for him, his family is full of connections and money. His mom works for Sony and his dad's an entertainment lawyer. They're about to set this play up for him. He doesn't have to grind super hard to get on. He has enough talent to make it right now. And he has connections. What is so wrong with it? If you had the ability to, you would do the same. When these two dangerous forces meet, that's when we have the birth of the industry plant. A label-generated superstar born from relationships, payola, and a whole lot of money exchange. They're in the lab pouring test tubes together like Professor Utonium. Sometimes you get the pop-up girls, and other times, experiment fails. But they keep shooting. But what's the problem with Lil Young Gangster? Why can't he become the artist he always wanted to be? He can. I don't really have a problem with it. But that in itself is part of the problem with how we run not just the music business, but all of our businesses. A lot of times we have a negative connotation with the words industry plant. Industry plant doesn't just mean that you had no talent and somebody just went and put you on. Of course, we can easily see the ones that aren't talented and somebody just threw them into the spotlight. But a lot of the times, industry plants are very talented. Whether it's homegrown or developed in them labs underneath the label studios. The only thing is, I'm not sure if you know, millions of people have the talent to make good music. It is not that rare. But what is rare is having the right team behind you, having the marketing, having the money to put up, being in the right place at the right time. And what is the label providing for these people? All of that. And I think that's why a lot of people have a problem with it. I guess we can start with, why do labels feel the need to manufacture an artist instead of just developing one that's been putting in the work? In my opinion, it's probably because it's easier, it's cheaper, and they get more of a return on their investment. The music industry is just that. An industry. And instead of taking 30 shots, trying to develop multiple artists that may or may not listen, may or may not stay loyal to the label, may or may not have the right people staffed in parts that are very important to artist development, like marketing, management, touring, things like that, we can just create one. We don't have to teach you how to dunk if you can just move the rim a little bit lower. It's a little easier now. And we get the added benefit of building around an artist that we know is gonna listen, because that deal is 100% in our favor. We put all the starter money in, we get more than the starter money out. I can give all my friends a job on your staff, and if it wins, I look great. If it doesn't, it was just spare resources anyway. The same way Chipotle will make a pre-made bowl, or a Subway will make a pre-made sandwich. We have the resources, we'll build it for you, and we'll tell you you like it. And a lot of people will just walk in and just buy it there because it's easy, it's cheap, and it makes sense. Is there anything really inherently wrong with that? No, actually, it's pretty smart. A lot of people just don't have the time or the attention span to know what they want. They have to be told what they want. That may not be all of us, but it's a lot of people, enough to make a profit. The rest of us still have an option to make our own. It's just a little bit harder. But that's looking at it from a business standpoint. If you look at it from an art standpoint, then it becomes a little bit harder to swallow. Hey, yo. Of course, in hip-hop, we're hyper aware of the idea of industry plant. But other genres have been manufacturing superstars for decades, putting boy bands together in front of us, creating pop stars, sometimes R&B stars. Don't get me started on the whole Disney factory. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But the energy is different when it comes to hip-hop. And I think that's because of the cultural significance of the music itself. Like, it comes from a place of struggle. So in certain people that haven't had to do that struggle, it definitely comes off a bit fake. And that itself is the affront to the art. When it starts to become inauthentic and you start throwing fake stories up, then it's like, all right, bro. And what's funny to me is, for people that know the importance of story building and world building when it comes to an artist and getting people to buy in, labels come up with some of the strangest backstories, or just don't try at all. It feels like at times they think the listener is just stupid. I mean, it makes sense. I guess I'm not really their target audience because I don't listen to the radio or like, pre-made playlists. But if we look at the, I guess, plants that we know of, their backstories are either unverifiable, they don't make sense at all, or they just hop in a game with no backstory at all. You expect me to believe that YB and Namir had enough pull to sign somebody into his label that had no fans onto a deal that he himself is probably still stuck on as we speak? Come on, bruh. Or like somebody like CJ. They were so close to just riding that wave out and making something shake. But the industry farmer that planted him, James Cruz, was just too proud of what he created and was a little too front and center, and people started putting the pieces together. You start seeing, oh, okay, you're not who you say you are. There's somebody behind the scenes pulling them strings, and you're related to him. Interesting. And that's not to say neither of those two are talented. It's just it was a little bit more help that was needed to get them on. There's no problem with that. It's not like a Saweetie situation here.
I know that's right.
I would do it if I could. I just don't got no friends. When you're trying to make it as an artist or trying to break into the industry, all of this may be super disheartening because you may be broke, you may not have no friends, no family, you may be in a city that doesn't have that much of an industry presence. And you already knew the industry was, exchanging favors, exchanging money. But now you're seeing some people just get what you are working so hard for handed to them. It's okay. And that's just life. The average listener does not care. And me too. I don't care either. I will never listen to Lil Young Gangster. I'm never gonna listen to Young I Hate My Mom. None of them guys. Don't care what they put out, and I really don't care what their fans think either. I don't care if Sarah Kaufman and ASU thinks Lil Nepotism is better than Jay-Z. That is her opinion to have. Just don't come around me with that. There's enough people making good music that demand will be met. So if you're making music, what is it that you should do? I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out, twin. I'm just here to talk about it. Just know, some people want it more than you. But I think what I do care about is the monetary investment that has gone into these goddamn industry plants. It could have been used to push any of the thousands of shelved artists on these label rosters. The ones that have actually been working, actually had good enough music to get signed, but just didn't have the team put together well or just don't have the marketing. And now the label's just waiting for them to hit that right TikTok dance that's gonna get their song up. God damn, man. But how different is all this from the nepotism that runs rampant in the private sector, in the public sector, small businesses, coaching jobs, football, basketball? It's not that different, sadly. Everybody's doing it and they will continue to. So it's sad to say, but I don't see it going anywhere, especially because it's kind of a moneymaker. Even when it fails, we'll write it off and try the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And you start to think, like, why do they keep doing this? Like, what's the point? Well, all it takes is 3 or 4 flagship artists to anchor an entire record label. All the flops on an Atlantic or Universal or Warner are anchored by their big flagship artists and their back catalog. Everybody else is really just an experiment. And so bringing in new people from outside instead of the low cost, high yield scenario where you make it pop from the inside, come on now. Of course they're gonna keep putting them shots up. Any good business person would. It's numbers at the end of the day. So what should we do as the listener, as the consumer, and as the lover of music? I always say support local, support underground, and support people whose story you've actually seen develop. Not people that, you've been fed, but things that you've seen grow, things that you've watched, or just support music you like. Nobody can tell you any different. The music will always speak for itself, but sometimes we just won't be able to hear real stories underneath all these coordinated noise campaigns. But that's just how life goes sometimes. That's enough what I think. What do you think?